This story begins in the laboratory where tiny dinosaurs hatch from two eggs. They are cute, but which of them will grow? It passes for a while. Two brothers, Zach and Gray Nacella, are going on a trip. Parents envy them because the guys are waiting for an amazing journey. But where? It turns out that Zach and Gray go to Isla Nublar, the same island from the Europark. Scientists continue to withdraw dinosaurs, and now Isla Nublar is an attraction that is visited by 20,000 people a day. The boys should meet their Aunt Claire, but she is not. Instead, the brothers are taken by the assistant Zara. From her, we learn that Zach and Gray are VIP clients. Their aunt is the administrator of the Jurassic Park, and she has more important things than a walk with his nephews, for example, a meeting with investors. Claire explains to businessmen that the attraction is already 20 years old. You will not surprise anyone with simple dinosaurs, and genetic engineering can come to the rescue. She presents a new grandiose project, Indominus Rex, an artificially created species of a dinosaur. Meanwhile, ZAO and Gray walk in the park. They meet Aunt, but Claire is too busy. She is in a hurry to the control center. Yes, the family is important, but an unpleasant incident occurred in the park. A small dinosaur fled from one of the valleys. Claire is furious because the equipment promised that the invisible fence would work without failures. If the dinosaur is trying to leave the location, the implant sewn into his body must beat him with electric shock. But sometimes dinosaurs manage to get rid of implants. The problem with the chute is solved, and for the Claire, they are served a helicopter that is piloted by Simon Masrani himself, the current owner of the park. Messerini wants to see a new exhibit, but Claire explains that there are problems with Indominus. He is very smart and dangerous, tried to attack people and almost broke through the protective glass. In addition, it is huge, white, and creepy. Messerini is interested in, haven't there any Indominuses? It turns out that two individuals were created in the laboratory, but the same tiny dinosaur from the beginning of the film ate his twin. Messerini asks one of his employees to check the volunteer of the Indominus. This is the former Marine Owen Grady, who works with cycling. They are smart, cunning, and constantly trying to run away. If the aviary is unsafe, Owen will notice this. Owen has trained his terrible pets. Hoskins, the head of the military research unit of the park, are watching them. Hoskins have big plans for raptors. Why do we need drones and soldiers if nature has already created the perfect weapon? But Owen recalls that such a weapon can eat you if you forget to feed him. Suddenly, a park employee falls into the aviary. The guards are ready to shoot, but Owen prohibits. He himself descends to the dinosaurs and shows how the rapists obey his leader. However, this is only a few seconds, and this is enough for people to leave the aviary. Meanwhile, Zas and Gray continue to walk around the park. Zara chatting on the phone, and the boys easily run away from her. Upon learning that the children are unattended, their mother calls her sister. She is furious and cries. It seems that something bad is happening in their family. Claire promises to spend time with them, but not today. She urgently needs to run to Owen Grady. Claire asks Owen to examine the aviary of the new dinosaur. Owen makes fun of her, and we will find out that one day this couple had an unsuccessful date. Claire advises a man to wash, as the new dinosaur is very sensitive to smells. Zach and Gray watch how a giant sea dinosaur is fed by a shark. The elder brother invites the youngest to look for something even more interesting. Claire and Owen are arriving at the volunteer of the Indominus. Owen is interested in what DNA the new dinosaur was collected from, but this information is classified. Owen does not approve of this venture. An incomprehensible cocktail of dinosaurs, which grew alone, can be unpredictable. But it is impossible to see the Indominus. The aviary is empty. Owen notes that the wall of the scratch. Assuming the worst, Claire rushes to the command center and requires the dinosaur to track the sensor. At this time, Owen examines the aviary. His subordinates report Claire that the dinosaur is still inside the sensor. He is so smart that he was able to fool the workers. Now the Indominus will see people for the first time, and they may not survive this meeting. Owen, along with the employee of the park, urgently leaves the aviary. The gates are closed behind them, but not quickly enough. The Indominus also wants to be free. Owen is hiding under the car and sees how the dinosaurs dealt with the worker. He recalls Claire's words that the Indominus has a great scent, and to kill his smell, he cuts the fuel hose. Due to the strong smell of gasoline, the Indominus does not find it. The most correct decision is to declare the alarm and warn the park visitors about the danger. But Mesari does not care about the safety of people. He does not need bad advertising. He sends the rangers to catch the escaped dinosaur quietly and imperceptibly. Meanwhile, Zayas and Gray continue to walk around the park. We will find out that their parents are divorced. If mom and dad share them, then for the brothers this will be the last joint trip. Owen gets to the control center and demands to withdraw rangers. These hunters do not have lethal weapons against the Indominus, and therefore they have no chance in a battle with this predator. The man is not listened to, and this turns out to be a a big mistake. Rangers find a piece of flesh with a beacon in the river. It seems that the Indominus remembered where he was sewn up and simply got rid of him. Now, the invisible electric barrier does not interfere with him. The Rangers have only a couple of minutes of life, and during this time, they make one important discovery. A new dinosaur can change color. Indominus changed the coloring with white to green, crept up, and destroyed the entire group. The owner of the park is in shock. Owen demands to evacuate the island, believing that the only way to save people is to install a machine gun on a helicopter and deal with the dinosaur. But he is ignored again. The only thing Mazna does is to go to geneticists, demanding to explain where the Indominus of its superpower got from. It turns out that the matter is in the genetic cocktail. The built-in keratoconus genes give the ability to change color, and DNA of wood frogs allows the dinosaur to deceive the thermal imager. At this time, Zack and Gray, without suspecting anything, ride a park on a gyrosphere. Upon learning of this, Aunt Claire is panicked. Everyone is busy searching for a dangerous dinosaur, and Claire understands that the only one who can help find children is Owen, and the guys really need help. The Indominus finds their gyrosphere. Impenetrable glass? Forget. The monster bites him in a second. Boys manage to escape, but the dinosaur almost catching up with them. Owen and Claire go in search of brothers and notice a barely living dinosaur. Owen understands that the monster does not eat its victims. He destroyed the whole herd just for the sake of pleasure. Heroes find a broken gyrosphere, but fortunately there are no children there and the search continues. Having got out of the water, Zack and Gray come to the abandoned building of the first park. There they find old jeeps and decide to use them. In the center of management, however, there are not enough ideas. Hoskins proposes to use trained raptors against the Indominus to test their living weapons. Masserin, recalling Owen's words about their danger, orders to install military weapons on a helicopter and takes off. Meanwhile, Zack and Gray repair a jeep and leave the building. Owen and Claire again do not have time behind them, but they meet a very evil Indominus. Fortunately, the dinosaur is distracted by a helicopter. Trying to hide from the bullet, the Indominus breaks the wall of the aviary for flying dinosaurs. Messerini loses control, and the helicopter tolerates the crash. Through the holes in the aviary, hundreds of pteranodonies are chosen outward. All our heroes are finally returning to the center of the park. Zack and Gray meet Zara. Claire and Owen are in a hurry to them, but suddenly, a flock of pteranodonies attacks people. Panic begins. One of the creatures is enough for Zara, but does not have time to take her away. A flying monster becomes a victim of an underwater predator. One of the dinosaurs attacks Owen, but Claire saves him. Owen kisses her in gratitude, and it seems that they go on a second date. The death of the owner of the park opens the door for Hoskins, which declares itself the main one and orders to release raptors to hunt. Owen is trying to intervene, worrying about his favorites, but they do not listen to him. Raptors are still used. Owen agrees to help and draws up a plan of hunting, explaining to Zack and Gray that he is Alpha, and the raptors are Beta symbols. Claire puts children in a van and tries to take them to a safe place. The hunt begins. Owen gives his raptors to smell a piece of the flesh of the Indominus with the beacon, and the dinosaurs immediately take the mark. Owen and the military travels behind them on motorcycles. Hoskins are delighted and begins to fantasize how to use raptors in the war in Iraq. But the hunt is not according to plan. The rapists find an Indominus, but do not attack, but talk with it. Owen understands that in the genetic cocktail there are raptor genes, and the flock now has a new alpha. The military attacks, but it's too late. The detachment suffers heavy losses. Raptors no longer serve people. Having dealt with the military, they attack the van with Zack and Gray. The brothers find shockers and fight back, realizing that everything can be together, and even the divorce of their parents will not separate them. Our heroes return to the main building, where evacuation finally begins. All staff leaves, except for one guy who believes that the team center cannot be left unattended. Meanwhile, scientists preserve dinosaur embryos and evacuate them by helicopter by order of Hoskins, who was the first to export people but his future weapons. When the main characters get to the laboratory, it is already empty there. Hoskins explains Claire that this park was a platform for military experiments and not just entertainment, but his plans collapse when a raptor appears and quickly straightens with it. Owen and the rest run out into the street, and they are surrounded by rapists. Owen is trying to restore the connection with his wards. Between the alpha, whom they have recently met, and the person whom they know all their lives, the rapists choose a person and attack Indominus. Gray claims that more teeth need more to win. At this moment, Claire understands what to do. She orders to open the 9th compartment. This is her secret weapon. The Tyrannosaurus, being free, enters into a battle beyond the territory, but the Indominus almost wins it. Suddenly, a surviving raptor appears and distracts the predator when they approach the reservoir. A marine dinosaur emerges from the water, grabs an Indominus, and carries it to its underwater kingdom. The last last living raptor expects a new order from Owen, but he releases him. Morning after a monstrous night comes. People are examined by doctors and parents fly to Zach and Gray. Claire feels guilty, but the sister is just glad that her whole family is safe. It seems that the world of the Jurassic period has come to an end. People leave the island and a satisfied Tyrannosaurus walks around its lands and issues a triumphant roar. I also advise you to watch other videos on my channel. Good luck!